tunashoot to kill. Bodies all over kwa screen. Kama mbaya ndio tambos tunamaliza generation.
We are here today, 26th of June 2023, commemorating the UN International Day in support of victims of torture. It is a day declared in the late 90s by the UN as a day dedicated to solidarity with all those who have suffered the atrocious act of torture and inhuman treatment.
Torture is a brutal violation of human rights, leaving lasting physical, psychological, and emotional scars on its victims. It is crucial that we acknowledge the profound impact of torture on survivors, victims, and their communities.
Today we want to hear what exactly torture is from a survivor's perspective.
Mimi nimepitia forced selection violence 2017 tarehe 11 nikichapa risasi na military.
Kaweza kutumaniwa polisi wakanipata wakiwa wawili, wanaume wakanipiga wakiwa wameniweka pingu, nilifanywa unyama, nikararuliwa nguo, baka sehemu za siri nikakanyangwa, walikuwa nimewekwa pingu.
Kijana mjukuu wangu nikasikia ameshikwa hapo nje na polisi. Kuwauliza ni nini, kijana ako chini, nisikia tu nimegongwa hapa na pisto. Kumuuliza ni nini, nikasikia ya pili. That is the time nikaanguka. Na nikiwa na uchungu mingi, sikujua nilikuwa na clot kwa kichwa. So mimi nikaenda mpaka hospitali ilikuwa karibu, wakanifaa to the hospital.
There was a grandmother, no, will not say a grandmother, but a senior person who was violated by warriors, not even state agents, by warriors. So she was stripped by these men, all of them wanting to, and they raped her. Do you know that woman, when you were interviewing her, she was stinking. Do you know stinking? There's a way a woman stinks, and then there is a way a woman can stink because of not taking a bath. Hakuwa anataka kuoga because she did not want anybody kumtoa nguo.
We should first of all accept that we underwent torture, and after accepting that we underwent torture, we should not view ourselves as victims. Rather, we should view ourselves as survivors. You need to see a counselor. For instance, if one underwent traumatic experience or torture, for us IMLU we offer counseling. It is also good that you look for persons within the family who can provide psychosocial support.
Psychosocial support is that trauma, and it needs treatment, it needs support. And I like what both Mr. Waheire and William are saying, that they've reached a level where they are able to talk about it. But by the time you reach that level, you need assistance, you need counseling.
That we are falling into a comfort zone where the prevention of torture and the provision of redress for its victims is no longer a priority for us. So my challenge to citizens today is take a moment to imagine the circumstance of an individual facing up to torture in the dark chambers of Nyayo.
Nilikuwa mwadhiriwa wa jumba la Nyayo House. For example, kwa kuvuliwa nguo mbele ya watu, kupigwa, kuwekwa ndani ya maji kama chura.
We must say no absolutely to torture. Always. We must keep challenging the torture efficacy debate. This means we must continue to debunk ticking bomb narratives.
Torture is something that can really destabilize a person's functioning abilities. And many times when we talk about trauma, we talk about torture, we also forget the amount of vicarious trauma that children go through. Some of the people that these tormented people run to, they do not know how to help. You've had a police responding to an already injured emotion.
In 2020, we as IMLU were part of a case where victims of sexual gender-based violence of the post-election violence in 2007 were awarded 4 million each. Of course, we know that is a form of reparations, but the victims have not yet received their money.
But the concept of reparations is for the restoration of dignity.
Katiba inasema mtu yoyote, any person has a right to complain to the commission whenever their right is violated or threatened, or there's a threat to violation. Unapoona haki kimekiukwa, tafadhali njoo ripoti, tushirikiane ili tuweze kuchukua hatua.
We trained our officers, so we have a team of about 40 prosecutors, investigators and human rights experts and even witness protection, IPOA, who are now going around the country.
We don't control the court corridor. We don't control the work of the prosecutor. But the only thing which we request is kindly expedite. See how we can expedite these cases so that we don't create witness fatigue.
Gone are the days where we had institutionalized torture. Gone are the days where we used to use torture as a tool to fight anyone who questioned power. The other thing is, I would want duty holders to understand that it is not enough to have laws on paper. It's not enough.
Additionally, it is vital to address the root causes of torture and prevent its recurrence. This involves strengthening legal frameworks, promoting human rights, and fostering a culture of accountability. By holding perpetrators accountable and addressing the systemic factors that enable torture, we can strive towards a society free from torture and related violations.
Objectives of today's event is to give hope, to keep hope alive, to give hope to those who have suffered, that they shouldn't give up. It's a struggle. It can be a long struggle, but finally we have hope that we will achieve the goals of accountability, justice and healing.
We stand against torture. Oh, tuseme no to torture. We stand against torture.
This is for Council Samuel K. Ndungi, who is an advocate who was tortured to death in April 1997. This is for Eliaza A. Babu, who was an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, who was tortured in January 1999. This is also for Jilo Raha, who is an advocate who died from brutality in June 2008. We have Anthony Munjiri, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, who was tortured, brutalized severally in September 2011. We have Rose Waruinge, also an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, an ardent human rights defender who was tortured and passed on February 2012. And we have our very own Willie Kimani, who was tortured together with his client.
Janga kubwa, tuseme no to torture.